So now that I have the interior looking nice, I got my new steering wheel, I got my wood stick shift handle. There's one thing missing. This little handbrake is still plastic. So today we're going to be making a rosewood emergency brake handle. So first thing you need to do is find some rosewood. Here at the Rockler Wood, getting some hardwood so that we can put some slats together. Found a little rosewood piece over here in the rosewood selection. We're going to put the emergency brake is going to be used with that, and then found some African teak over here that we're going to do the slats on the luggage carrier. All right, so step 2, mark off how much rosewood you need. We're going to make it the same length. So I just kind of laid it in place. The rosewood is stored with a kind of a waxy material on it, so you can see it's really waxy. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, and we're going to start with that. And then we're going to take this old plastic handle off so I can get a good measurement on what the inner dimensions are for that, the center shaft that's going to connect inside there. So let's cut up some wood and take apart this piece of plastic. Just like that. Pretty much a slam dunk, just a little plastic sheath. Let's get a good measurement. Just a little bit over 20 millimeters. Maybe 21 millimeters. All right, I'm going to get this paint off as well, so we can have a nice clean surface for the epoxy, and then we can move forward from there. Well, there you have it, a hole through the rosewood. In case you're wondering on the size, if you're going to do this project on your own, I went with a 7/8 inch blade bit. The next size down is 13/16, and that is 19.5 millimeters. 7/8 is just a little more than 21, just ever so slightly more than 21 millimeters. And the hole that we need is 21 millimeters. So I went with the 7/8 so that we could get enough epoxy in there to be something that would fix. If we went with the perfect size, and if we went with this 13/16 and then sanded it out to be perfect, there wouldn't be any epoxy left to glue this to the handle. So ultimately, I think it might have been a little weaker. So anyway, there you go. Went with a 7/8 inch hole. It's a little bit slack, but it fits just fine. And so now we're going to get into shaping. So you can see it's a square. Obviously, we don't want to use a square for our brake. It's going to be round. We're going to take a lot of these edges off, but I think I'm going to put like a pistol grip right up in here to fit your hand, kind of like your knuckles. It'll be round on the back and a little bit of a grip ridges on this edge right here. So we're going to go ahead and chop this down with the sander and get down to round. I could have started with rounding the outside and shaping, but it would have been even harder for me to get this hole all the way through because it would be really difficult to hold it. So while it was square, I took advantage and got this hole and drilled through on my drill press. All right, so moving on to the next step, we're going to round this thing up and get a good rough of the shape before we get into sanding. All right, so there you go. Here's a nice shape that we got. A little bit of a hand impression, so when your fist is on it, it feels a little bit more natural instead of just a cylinder. It was really not that difficult to shape it. This rosewood is nice and hard. It resists things like, fingernail dents and things like that. We're going to go ahead and do some wet sanding, get this nice and polished up, and then we'll put some varnish on that, and then we'll get this thing epoxied into the car. While all that is drying, I'm going to work on this. This is Ioka wood. This wood right here. It's African teak, and we're going to put this on the back. It was really nice at the wood store there. We had quite a nice selection of different kinds of wood, so I was kind of inspired by this to add some wood accents to the luggage rack. So we're going to replace the slats on the luggage rack, which are currently stainless steel, with this Ioka wood, and we'll put a little, it's because this is external and things will be strapped to it. We're not going to use varnish on it. We're going to use teak oil on this to seal the wood up and make it weatherproof. But that should be a quick little thing, just 5 little 16-inch slats, and then we'll screw those into place with the existing hardware. Okay, let's cut back in after we get this thing nice and shiny. You can see rosewood looks pretty nice when it's, this has got wax on it for sealer, but when you can see the color is really going to pop once we get some varnish on there. So that's the last step on this. Alright, so here's the handle after one coat of varnish, or urethane. Looks really nice. I like the way that the sheen breaks up where the little knuckle marks are. That works out really well. And it really pops the grain. Now with the rosewood here, it has enough color in the wood itself that you don't need any stain. While I put the varnish on that, I've started working on the slats. I'm going to be replacing these stainless steel slats on the luggage rack with these teak. Actually African teak, it's Ioka wood. This is a much lighter wood, although it's really good for outdoors, and it can withstand the weather. We're going to treat it with teak oil. It does need a little color, so I went through my little cabinet to see what kind of stains I had. This one over here is mahogany, and red mahogany, and then this is English chestnut. Wouldn't that have been great if English chestnut would have worked on my English car? This is oak, and then this over here is just with teak oil. It didn't really darken up at all, just by adding the teak oil on there. So we're going to add a little bit of color. We're just going to go with the oak here, and that'll look really good in contrast when we put it up against the car. This will be right in this area right here, and you'll be able to see it has kind of a nice little wood accent to replace these stainless steel parts. They're brand new. It's such a shame to take a stainless steel part out. But I got into the mood with the wood, and I got some wood at the hardware store, or at the wood store, and that worked out really well for me. So we're going to go ahead and finish this with my prototype. It came out really nice. See, it has a little cup right here, just like this one, to receive the crossbar, and I had to put a little countersink on the bottom here to deal with the hardware. But I think that's going to look really nice once we get that all stained up and treated with teak oil. So I'm going to go ahead and put another coat on here, and then we'll get on to the epoxy portion of that project. Here you go. Some teak slats to replace the stainless steel. Give it a little bit more of an organic look. I like that. That looks pretty sweet. Now let's get on over here and put some epoxy on this thing and put this new lever in here. This is 3 coats of urethane over the top of rosewood. You can see it pretty much matches everything pretty well here. I think it's going to be a really good addition. It's going to go right on there, and the tape will hold it in place. Just need to orient it left and right. So let's get some epoxy in there. Alright, so that should dry in place. Let me get in the driver's seat and make sure I have it oriented right. That feels good. Alright, leave that to dry. The epoxy that we're using for this portion of the project is JBWeld Clear Weld, and it is a 5-minute set time. So you don't have to wait for 12 hours for it to set up. It'll set pretty quickly. It cures overnight, but you won't have to worry about it dripping or making a big mess after 5 minutes. Well, that's this week's project. We have a rosewood hand brake knob, and boy, that really matches nicely with the rest of the woodwork, between the wood steering wheel and the wood shift lever and the wood dash and these autumn brown tan seats. The fine stitch work that my wife did on these door panels, that looks really great. So I'm really happy with the outcome there. The side project there was these little wood slats for the luggage cart, or the luggage rack. So I think that was a really productive weekend. That's all I have for this week. Check back next week. We'll do some more work. Don't know exactly what yet, but we'll get there.